Hey everybody, thank you for being here. We are so excited to have y'all joining us for today's webinar with Plan. We know that social media is a kind of complicated thing for some of you, especially staying on top of things. So we're really excited to run you through exactly what to do when you've got a little bit of a fall off or a little bit of things that aren't going quite your way when it comes to social media. I am going to give it just a few minutes as we get going, tying up a couple of little things, and then also just want to give everyone plenty of time to jump in. I know how busy folks can be, especially small business owners and solopreneurs. There's a lot swirling around in your world, so I want to make sure that everyone has plenty of time coming in. I would love to see in the chat where everyone is from and just kind of see what's going on. Hold on one second. I want to see what's going on and see kind of, maybe how's the weather. I'm joining from Birmingham, Alabama, and I don't know if you're familiar with Alabama or nearby the Southeast, but it is hot in here. It's humid, so every time I walk out with all of this curly hair, it just immediately pops and expands. So would love to see how the weather's going for all of y'all. There's a poll that I've just popped up. Is it hot? Is it easy breezy? Do you even understand what the weather is doing right now? Weather plays a really, really big part of how we're feeling and how we're doing on social media. So I would love to see y'all pop us some answers. Is it really hot where you're at? Is it frigid cold? Is you got the right set of temperature? Because again, all of that plays a massive part of how you're feeling when things are in the planning stages for your social media. And on that note, how are things going with y'all right now with your social media consistency? Are you on top of it? Are you killing it? Do you need to spice things up a little bit? Is it falling behind? Let's pop another little one in there for y'all and see how things are going. Are you on top of it? There's a lot, especially today when things are moving around, based off the weather that can get in the way. So yeah, let's see. How's everybody doing as far as, it's looking like it's pretty hot for everybody who's joining. Let's see here. All right, so tell me a little bit, how's your content going? Been on fire, heating things up right now, not present, couldn't even tell somebody what consistency online means. All right. So it looks like we've got a little bit of lags. We're jumping back and forth. We could spice it up a little bit. All right, I like it. Thank you guys for jumping in and giving us a little bit of insight there. All right, not present at all is looking like a winner. Okay, well, that helps us tremendously as we run through today's webinar so that I can help you as a small business owner, as someone who's in that solopreneur space, to really start ramping things up and getting present online. All right, guys, so I think that might be just about enough time for everyone to have popped in. So I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation. Just a couple of things to run through really quickly. All right. Okay, so hopefully at this point, everyone can see my screen. Everything's going okay. Y'all just let me know. Need some spice, Brandy. I see that. I got you, girl. I got you. We're going to spice things up. All right, so really quickly, guys. So let's talk about what we're going to run through in today's webinar. First off, we are going to discuss content pillars and what those mean for a social media strategy. We're going to talk about how you can create content on the fly really quickly, and also how to extend the lifespan of your content. And then we'll throw in a few hacks so that you can maintain that consistency and engagement. But really quickly, before we really get into the meat of everything, I want to let everyone know that we do have Plan team members live in the chat right now to answer your questions as we go along. If you have any questions for me directly, at the end of today's webinar, we'll have a Q&A where you can ask me anything about your niche, about your brand, or about your business, and I'll do my best to answer that question for you. All right. So a little bit about me. I am Tyler. I'm the brand partnerships and social media community manager here at Plan. I'm a pretty new face. You may have seen me pop up a little bit on our social feeds. Some of the graphics that I've done pop up on our social feeds, but I'm a newer addition and really excited to be here so that I can help folks just like you. I'm really passionate about helping small business owners, and as I mentioned, there's people in the solopreneur and creator influencer spaces. I know what it's like to be building your brand from the ground up, and I know how hard that can be when you don't have all of the team that you need to keep that going successfully or consistently. And so that's where I really like to come into the marketing help space, is by helping you strategize and organize your marketing efforts. Because realistically, when you are a small business owner, your world is like a tornado swirling around inside of your head. And so my goal is to always be able to help and provide you the space and the organization and the tools that you need to really stay on top of things. But let's jump into what we're going to need for today's webinar really quickly. Don't stress out if you don't have everything here. It's totally fine. You've got a little bit of time before we'll get into the fun stuff. But I do want to kind of talk about what are the main course kind of necessities for today. So you will need a Plan account, desktop and the app, preferably our mobile app that you can download in the App Store, open and ready to go. You will need a Plan account if you're not already a planner. No judgment, but also feel free to start a free 7-day Plan Plus trial. You can follow the URL that you see on the screen right now, planthat.com/register, or you can sign up for just a general free account that gives you one platform that you can plug in. And then you'll also need to connect your Instagram account to Plan. So that way, at the end of this, we can set you up with 3 posts ready to go so that you can make a social media comeback that is going to blow people's minds. But make sure that as we get through the next few slides, you're focusing on getting those things kind of set up to the side, or just writing notes diligently so that way you have something to reference when you get back to. So you've fallen off of the social media bandwagon. Oh no, what are you going to do? How are you going to come back really, really strong? First of all, I want to tell you that's okay. That happens to the best of us, especially small business owners. Sometimes you've got a lack of resources or tools. Maybe you haven't taken the time to really build that strategy for staying on top of your content. And then you throw in bookkeeping and invoicing and inventory and payroll and onboarding and all of that, and your world is already packed into a maximum where you don't necessarily have all of the capacity to get to social media. But it is incredibly important that you find ways and strategize ways to make social media easier for yourself, because it's incredibly important for building your business and continuing to connect with new consumers and new audience members. If you already have had a pretty good flow, if you're one of those folks that wants to spice things up, it's totally possible for you to regain that engagement that you formerly had, and to continue to boost your brand by coming back with a solid return. But as we continue to talk slide by slide, I want you to be brainstorming, keep a gear running in the back of your head about what type of comeback you need to make. Does that need to be a grand reintroduction? Has it been a few months? Did you gain and lose some followers in that time? Or maybe it's been just a week or so, or a few weeks, and you've kind of had some stuff on stories. That's also going to help you tremendously when you go to strategize what this comeback looks like for you and your brand. So let's talk about strategy. So in the world of marketing and in the world of social media, we talk a lot about this term called content pillars, and it does seem kind of terrifying when you say content pillars. It's like foundational structures. It's a pretty scary term in the world of marketing and social. However, the reality is it's super, super easy, and it's really all it stands for is your roadmap. It's the theme for your brand and for your brand's presence online. So when you establish content pillars, you basically are mapping out the pinpoints on your roadmap to success. So don't be afraid of content pillars. And we're also going to walk you through how to build those and what those look like. But just be sure that after this webinar or throughout this webinar, you're trying to write down some things that you could really make your foundational pillars. So let's talk about how you identify content pillars. So at Plan, we obviously pride ourselves on being social media experts, your social media bestie. And so as you can see on the screen, some of the content pillars that we've identified for ourselves include things like social media updates. Occasionally we keep things lighthearted with some memes. We might feature some people in our community. Another example could be if you're a florist. No one knows flowers better than you do. You're going to know how to arrange them in a way that's more beautiful in a corner or on the center as a centerpiece. You're going to understand which flowers are best during the season. And so you can offer educational content as well as inspirational content, depending on what your niche is, as long as you know confidently what you're an expert in. It's also fine to use yourself as a content pillar or use your brand, your business as a content pillar. In today's world, what our audiences are wanting is a humanistic approach. They want authenticity. They want meaningful content to come across their feed. So don't be afraid to use yourself as a content pillar and share things like your company goals or your personal goals, even if you feel comfortable with that. Small wins, big wins, hardships and struggles, because you might have someone in the audience who can help you in that moment immediately. But showcasing that authenticity is huge. Also, read your analytics. This is not a super fun part of planning your social media strategy, but also it will kind of blow your mind, because that one post that you thought, oh, I'm just putting this up, might be one of the best performing posts that your feed has ever seen. So make sure that you're looking at those regularly. We would recommend weekly to monthly, just so that you can see which posts have performed best, either visually or the message that you put across. Maybe it's a color palette. Being really, really attentive to those things in your analytics is incredibly beneficial for building those content pillars. Also, keep your ears to the ground by listening to your audience. Listen to the comments and the questions that they're asking. If you see things that are repeating or things that keep coming up quarterly or sporadically, you'll know right then and there that that is a gauge that you can use to build a content pillar, because basically your audience is telling you what problem they need you to solve for them or what problem they're hoping you can solve for them. And then be adaptable, because content pillars are continuously evolving. You might have a few that stay as the staple. Like for us, social media updates will probably stick around for a very long time, but these are not permanent. They don't have to stick there for the next 10, 15 years of your brand. And you're going to want to revisit those so that you know exactly what is working best for your brand and what your audience over time is evolving to be interested in. So that's just a few easy ways for you to identify those content pillars. And let's talk about planning your post by following those content pillars. So now that you've identified them, let's look into ways to strategize them. As you can see from the video on the screen, our strategy tool really helps you kind of pick and choose those pillars, plug and place them, drag and drop them. We'll get into all of that later, but having a tool in place that helps you put things into a good strategy is always a really good thing to be thinking about. But following this kind of demonstration, you can see that it's just a roadmap for your strategy, and they're going to help you see very clearly what you need to have in mind for your next post. So that was the first part. We were talking about strategizing content, what we need to do to really strategize content and build our pillars. But now let's talk about the creation aspect. I think that this conversation gets people a little nervy, but that's okay, because it can definitely feel overwhelming, especially when every single platform that we have is pushing us to film and cut and edit video. But again, with the right types of tools, the right sources of inspiration and a good strategy, content creation is actually really easy. And that is our goal here at Plan, is to help you train and inspire you so that you can be the content creator of your dreams and maintain that confidence to show up online. Some easy ways for you to create some content is by batching it or by leveraging user-generated content, but also taking those two things and referencing them back to those content pillars that you spent time identifying. If you're not familiar with what batching content and user-generated content is, we are going to run into that right now. So these are 3 really embarrassing videos of myself. But what I want to really pinpoint is that all 3 of these videos took me just under 20 minutes to create. I know, right? Like that's kind of crazy. They're all different. They all look different. They're different vibes. But that's really how we get through batching content. It's been roughly 20 minutes shooting and editing some video, and then you can cut and play and plug and place wherever you need them. But there are a few things that I like to do and that we like to do here at Plan to make batching content a lot easier. Just make a list of relevant topics or questions or comments that you're seeing in relevance to your content pillars so that you know what topics you have to cover in that little 20 minutes of shooting. I like to keep fun shirts or glasses or some sort of hat accessory kind of thing nearby. So that way I can do a quick outfit change and then pump right back into a new video and create that next asset on the fly. And then spend the remainder of your hour, so the following 30, 40 minutes, just cutting and editing, trimming them up, and then boom, you've got content for a week, or if you really spend a few hours, for a whole month. So creating your content ahead of time and batching it is a really strong way for you to stay present online. And then let's talk about the situation where you might not have time to batch content, because that does happen as well, especially in busy seasons. But this is the time when you can, rely on user-generated content. User-generated content typically consists of things that you've been tagged in or mentioned on across your social media channels or online, things like reviews or testimonials, references to your products that people have made or that followers have made. So on the screen right now, these are 3 just from Plan. You can see that we're getting a lot of mentions as being a really strong tool for small business owners and for creators and folks that are just really loving on what we have to offer through our features. But what this is it's incredibly useful for creating social proof. And it's a quick and easy reshare to your feed, so that way it showcases that you're online. One quick easy way is just pop this up on your story. Pop anything that you've been mentioning up on your story. Say a nice, cute little little blurb about that person, about that account. And now you've got something present online for 24 full hours to give you a little bit of buffer so that you can create something new, or, do that again the next day if you need a little bit more time. But user-generated content is an incredibly valuable thing for small business owners, especially if you're in the e-commerce space, because you get to showcase your products on the fly and also create that social proof. And so let's talk about the last part of your comeback, about being consistent, and that's repurposing. So really making your content go the extra mile. You've spent a lot of time on creating this content, especially if it's a blog post or some really awesome video, but your content's lifespan can genuinely go on for miles if you just use it correctly. And when I say use it correctly, I mean because every audience that you have across your different platforms, one thing that most people forget is that every one of those audiences is different. You can't copy and paste your audience from Instagram to Facebook or from Facebook to LinkedIn, because they all serve different purposes. So Facebook is typically our friends and our family and maybe some products and things that we might be interested in. LinkedIn is your professional persona, your work life, career, professional achievements. That's typically what we use LinkedIn for, or just to educate other people in our industry or our niche. Instagram offers us visual inspiration or motivation. Sometimes it's snackable content, sometimes it's something that really is life-changing. And then TikTok is for that actual snackable stuff, the how-tos, the cool products, that funny creator, that all-inspiring moment. That's what TikTok really serves. So making sure that you know where you're trying to put that content is super important. And with just a few minor tweaks, you can take a high-performance blog piece and you can now spread it across different places if you just keep that in mind. The reason why you want to stretch this content is because it does reinforce your brand messaging. So like what you've seen here, how you can use Pinterest to boost your website sales. What we've done is we've basically pulled out the meat of that blog post and offered 7 statistics that are referenced in there to prove that Pinterest is good for your e-commerce sales or for your website sales. It also allows your audience to understand what you're offering by platform, as well as giving you a better understanding as to what each audience is wanting to see from you in that space. So make sure that you are repurposing your content. Once you've put it out in the world, you can continue to stretch it for as long as you like or as long as it's performing. And let's just discuss a few hacks for staying consistent online. Social media ultimately is about being social. And so that's what is helping you build that community. It's how you get your reach across the entire globe. It's about showing up to the conversation and being present and letting your followers know, like, hey, I'm here. Just want to let you know that I'm also here for you, and I've seen your comment, I've seen your likes, and respond to those in a meaningful way. There are ways that you can automate that. There are different tools. Each platform has its own kind of automated setting based off of a keyword that might come through your direct messages. Or if you just are overwhelmed and you can't get to it, just pop something up on your story, a quick graphic, or just get on and shoot a video that says, hey, got a lot swirling around in the small business world right now. We're really busy. We're bringing some new team members on, something like that, just to let them know, like, hey, we see you, we hear you, and we want to keep this conversation going. We just need a little space. And one of two things are happening in that. One, you're showcasing to your audience that you care. You're showcasing to your audience that you're hard at work and that this is a brand and a product to follow. And two, you're letting them know that they are incredibly important to you. And what that is going to do is drive them to talk about you more, or share your posts or share your content more often, because they see the realness in you coming in and saying, hey, I'm a little burnt out, or hey, we fell off the wagon, but here's what's going on. That also just keeps your engagement going. So like I said, using stories to pop up that user-generated content, that's a 24-hour spend. And then also leveraging Reels and TikToks. I know sometimes it's a little frustrating algorithmically. Sometimes you'll have a video that you spend a lot of time on and it just falls right to the sidelines. And then you have other videos that just genuinely skyrocket and you don't understand why. But what I want you to mostly pay attention to with Reels and TikToks is that they continue to generate and continue to showcase and show up in new places for weeks on end. So putting a reel to work for you early on when you're starting to feel like, okay, we're starting to lose it, we're starting to kind of slip off, putting a reel up will give you a little bit of a buffer time, just because it's going to continue to stretch and grow. So we've gone through how to create a strategy. We've gone through how to identify your content pillars. We've gone through how to repurpose your content, and we've gone through how you can quickly stay on top of things. So let's get to the fun part. How does that sound? So let's dive in and schedule those first 3 posts. We're going to use content pillars to help you guide your posts. We're also going to be looking into content calendars for holiday and inspiration prompts. And then we're also going to look into repurposing your content across channels. And there's a little bit of a bonus quick grab share that we'll discuss at the end. So really quickly, I'm just going to pop over to Plan real quick. You can also take this time to do that yourself. I'm going to get logged in, and then we are going to pop on, and I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do so that you can plug in 3 strong comeback posts. All right. Let's go over here. Hey, everyone. All right. So let's run through a quick demonstration of how to really plan your content, okay? So as you'll see right here on the main page, you're gonna open up and you're gonna be on the create page. You'll see your grid over here to the right. You've got where you can create new things, craft your perfect caption. So this is typically the page where you'll end up landing. But I also want you to look up at the top bar right here. You've got calendar, media, hashtag, strategy, results, and reply. What I want you to focus on for today's webinar purposes is the strategy tab. So click into your strategy tab and you'll see, especially if you're on a new account, you'll see that you've got tell your brand story right here. And there's just some researched content pillars over here to the left that you can take advantage of. These are ones that we just know at Plan perform really well. And that is what you can kind of use to guide your content roadmap. So you can click, lifestyle, community, product, and you'll see them start to kind of line up over here on the right into your strategy tool. Hold on 1 second. All right, everyone. So sorry. It looks like we had just a little bit of a technical difficulty. Let me see here and make sure we've got you at the right spot. All right. So hopefully all is good and we can see that strategy page. So I'll just start over right here at that strategy page. So sorry. We've all been through this, the tech aspect of webinars. So bear with me. So hopefully now you can see my screen. And then also let's get back to what we were talking about over here. You'll see where all of those preset content pillars that we've researched are there for you. And then what I was doing prior to the screen sharing stopping is I was kind of plugging and playing a few of these things right here. So over on the left, you can see like I can click in any of these particular topics and plug them in. And then you can also go through. So now that you've identified and we've taught you how to identify those content pillars, you can also add your own into this. So at Plan, we're social media experts. So let's say that we want to talk about social media updates. We can plug that in. Our brand colors are, beautiful shades of blue. So we're going to set it to some sort of beautiful shade, hit create. And now we've got social media updates added in. Let's add in a couple of others like Instagram alerts. We'll go back, add another brand color. And let's say one of the things that works for us really well are like tutorials and how-tos. So let's say that we want to do long form tutorials, right? So we'll add that in as well. So once you've added these content pillars that you've identified, you've selected your brand colors, you can now start plugging those in as well. And you'll see that those load right here in your strategy tool. Now, say that you are having a little bit of trouble with your content pillars, or maybe you're just struggling a little bit with where to start. What you can do is you can scroll down and look at this little button that says content prompts. These are content prompts. They're not necessarily pillars, but there are some really strong things in there that can help you. Some of them might specifically apply to your brand, to like e-commerce, for example. So let's use this general e-commerce one. You can hit select, and then what that does is it immediately pops it in here to your strategy tool, as well as the ones that you've already identified for yourself. And then one of my favorite things about this strategy tool is that you can just drag and drop wherever you want to move things, so that you can really build this out in a way that showcases consistency and showcases your brand in a way that is both visual and strategic. Once you're really happy with all of this, let me blow your mind really quickly. Click Add All to Grid. Give it just a moment. It is adding, 18 posts to your grid at one time. All right. So that was pretty easy, right? So now that you've built these out and you've got them all set up in your strategy tool, pop them right over to your grid. This is now your official kind of scheduling space. And all you have to do is, once you have gotten those into this space, click into the one that you are ready to edit. And then here we go. We've got our lifestyle photo. We are all set and ready to go to start this one. So let's click in to the button so that we can add our media and add our content. So up top, once you've clicked that button, when you click the big plus in that square, you'll see that you have media collections. You can upload from Dropbox, Google, Canva directly. You can add other apps like CloudSpot is one of our really great integrations. Or you can access free content. Now, this is one feature that I also really love because you can jump through Pexels, Pixabay, and Unsplash and find stock photography and stock imagery, visuals, video, whatever you need. So let's take a gander. Let's use this free content that's already there for us because we're making a social comeback. So we are going to talk about e-commerce. We'll search for e-commerce and let's just click a good image and click add. So it's going to upload that media. And the thing that is most incredible is you don't have to worry about image credits. It pulls it directly from that free content space. But one thing I do want you to be mindful of is, as you can see these kind of gray spaces on each side, every platform's image aspect ratio is a little bit different. So one quick thing that you can do is pop in this little blue button, click this crop up here. And then you've got common aspect ratios, or you can scroll down by platform and see the most optimized spaces or aspect ratios for those platforms. So obviously this is Instagram. They're the king of squares. I think that's a pretty good cut. Click save image up here. And then now your picture is optimized and ready to go for that. Okay, so now we've got our image credits, but what else do we need to do? We need to write a pretty solid caption, right? So that's where this guy comes in handy. You can go through our social starters, which are all pre-written captions for you, and you can kind of look right through here and see all of these different types of things that you can do. So if you're in the e-commerce space, you might often run a sale, or you might want to sell your product or inspire, engage. But for this aspect, let's talk about community because we're doing a social media comeback. And so here's a good one. There's nothing I love more than curling up with a cup of tea and a good book. That might be something that you've done while you've been away, just to kind of get your head right. And so what I love about this is you can take all of these, this pre-written caption for you, and you can modify it to be your own. So there's nothing I love more than taking a quick break and coming back strong. Back strong. Not one. This festive season, or this season, let's maybe edit that. I've been unwinding down with a stack of good reads, or you can say I've been up to lots in the world of a small business owner. And then you can just add in a list of some of the things that you've been up to. And then maybe list some other things, and then say drop what you've been up to in the in the comments. All right, and then from there, now we've got our image already done for us. We've got our caption basically completely done for us. And then we've got all of our credits set there. But now let's talk about that engagement aspect and talk about location tagging. So we are in Birmingham right now, Birmingham, Alabama. All right, we'll just use this. And then also hashtags, right? So let's see here. So one of the things that you can also do in hashtags is head over to the suggestions key, and you'll see that we have hundreds of different pre-researched hashtags that you can use. Let me clear this real quick. So you might be an entrepreneur. You can either save these hashtag sets, you can click them open and see what's in there. We're talking about e-commerce. Let's see what we've got here. Or let's say small business. All right, so small business, you've got 20 hashtags. click this right here, and then now your hashtags are loaded in. So in just a couple of seconds, a few little clicks around the screen, and we've now got an image, our caption, our hashtags, our tags, all ready to go. A strategy attached to it. You can scroll down here and then you can schedule your posts. You can schedule by custom time. You can schedule by your best times to post. And you can look at those. You usually get about 6 or 7 days worth of your best times to post. Once you're happy with that, you hit schedule post. And then it's going to pop up over here. Just click this little scheduled key. And you'll see our post is right down here. Now I want to show you another way that you can quickly get it. Let's move on to your second post for your comeback. Let's head over to this calendar tab at the top of the screen. So one of the things about doing a social media comeback is you might not always know exactly how much time you have or exactly what time of year that you're in. So what you can do is you can look at the top of these calendar pages and see that you've already got some content prompts kind of preset for you. But let me blow your mind even more by saying that you can click this. And when you click it, it'll tell you what it'll ask you what you're creating content for. It will also give you options of imagery to choose from. So let's say this one, because she looks really happy and excited about social media day. You have a caption that you can copy to your clipboard if you want to use something different here. And you also have a set of hashtags that you can save as a hashtag set if you like. Click create. And this is where every single time this happens, it blows my mind. And then again, let's optimize that image just to be perfect for Instagram, and then save this image. And then go in, we'll add share 3 social media tips. And so right now in those 2 clicks of a button, you can also go in and say that we want this. Let's look down here and see what we had next. Community coming. So we'll add this to our community strategy, make sure that the caption aligns with that community content pillar, and you are all set and ready to go. Go ahead and have that squared up down here for your social and schedule it. And then right over here where it says schedule post, I'm going to show you right now how to quickly get your 3rd social media content post, and also how to quickly repurpose your content for that comeback. As you're scheduling, you can click the little down drop arrow over here to the right of the schedule post key, and you'll see that you can schedule posts and recreate it for LinkedIn, for Facebook, TikTok, or Pinterest. So let's recreate this for Facebook. Give it just a moment. And now our schedule post is set and ready to go on Instagram. And now we are going to pop right up here. We're going to head over to our Facebook page. And wham, bam, your 3rd social media comeback post is ready and squared to go. So you can look right here and see that everything's there. What you will need to do is optimize the caption, change it a little bit so that it performs best on Facebook. But your image has already been optimized, your hashtags have carried over, your tags have carried over, and your caption has all carried over. And you can just go in, click edit. You can see that your strategy's here. Click custom time. We'll say that we want it to post at, in 15 or 5 minutes. Schedule post, and you're done. You can also go back in here, and you can do the exact same thing here if you want to keep it going, just for a little bit of an extra boost to another platform. And so right there, you've had 3 posts done for you. And what did that take? Just about 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. Click this button, because I did tell you that there was a bonus way for you to get another little quick content share for your comeback. Click reply, head to this little mentions. Let me pop over back to Instagram. Head to these mentions. You'll see that we've had these comments or mentions. You can view this on Instagram by clicking right there. And then here's that quick little bonus share. Just share it to Facebook, Messenger, or Twitter, or copy the link and you can place it somewhere else if you like. But all in all, those were some pretty quick and easy shares. Super quick and easy to make your social comeback. So now what I'd love to do is just kind of open this up to Q&A, trying to help wherever I can with whatever information I have. If you have any questions about, kind of what we discussed today, questions about anything that may have arisen or popped into your head across the webinar, or maybe you want to dive deeper into one of our features, or ask me what you need to post next. Now's the time to do that. We've got a little more than 15 minutes, so feel free to take it away. Just pop your questions in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them. All right. And I can see my teammates have been all over this, keeping these questions answered. So let's give a big shout out to them, Ashley from Plan and Tony from Plan. We are big team members around here. Hold on one second. And just let me make sure that we've got the right things going. All right. So, really, really happy. Oh, Alicia Jones, this was great. Thank you. Really happy that you guys have enjoyed it. Does anyone have any questions? Anything specific that's popping up? You'll see posts that you have been tagged in the reply tab on Plan Desktop. Oh, gotcha. Is that called or named? Okay, cool. Let's see what else do we maybe have here. Do we have, love your hair, sorry, off topic. Thank you very, very much. This is a pretty new addition, but also it makes for some solid comeback social media posts and solid content. So hopefully you guys are feeling pretty good after this post. I'm really excited to have been able to walk this through. What's best to post to increase your following? All right, so that's actually a really great question. One of the things that I would recommend, focusing on for following is showcasing authenticity. One of those things that we want more than anything after the past few years that we've gone through is showcasing, that you're a real person and that you understand what it is as well to be a small business owner, or, showcasing, hey, I'm a small business owner, but I'm a small business owner that does this, and I'm a small business owner that does that. All of those types of things help you engage, increase your following. Also being incredibly responsive. Instagram's algorithm really pays attention to how well your engagement is going and optimizes, the posts that you've shared. I think we have a similar question. How can we increase engagement? I feel like I'm constantly, because I'm getting discouraged. Please don't be discouraged. Please don't be discouraged. That is a really big part of being in the social media space is feeling like it's overwhelming you to a point that, you just can't quite keep doing what you're doing. And so hopefully what you've seen today is that you can create more and you can continue that consistency in a really easy way. And just in an hour, we've gone through an educational kind of layout. We're answering questions, and we've already scheduled 3 and a bonus post. So don't get discouraged. Just keep going for it, and just keep at it. That's what really matters, is that consistency and showing up. And if you need to take a break, there are tools in place that help that keep your presence moving so that you can stay online all of the time. Let's see. I'm new to Plan. This will allow you to rearrange your posts the way you'd like. It will show how you see it. Exactly. That is, Portia, that is 100% what this does. So with Plan, we can visually design your grid and your feed in a way that is incredibly helpful for you, and also just lets you kind of see what your followers will see before they get to see it, which is pretty awesome. Leanna, what if you've switched or expanded your career? Is it best to continue using my art page that has a following, or start from scratch? So this is a question that I have actually dealt with a few times, because we navigate different changes, or maybe we take on something new. there are two paths that you can take with this. For me personally, the way that I've always run my own personal brand or my own personal Instagram is to combine all of the many things that make Tyler who he is. The intersectionality of all of the many types of abilities and things and family and fun and friends and and exciting moments of my life, as well as my career. And I've blended it all together. So I think that that's one thing you can absolutely, expand into your career. Tell your audience members, hey, I've been gone for a little while because I've been starting this new career thing. And this is an opportunity for you to start that new page if you want to, and say, like, if you want to keep up with my, with my art, or if you want to keep up with, what I've got going on, I've started this new page, feel free to follow me there. But my personal recommendation is keep it all in one account. So that way you continue to grow on the engagement that you've already spent so much time building. Do you have any tips? Hopefully that helps a lot. Do you have any tips on how to engage with content as a brand? I'm not sure how to create meaningful conversations via comments versus just commenting emojis. Okay, this is a good one. This is a really good one. So there are different little hacks that you can do in commenting, but the best and most important thing is to write a intentional and a meaningful comment back. I think as brands, we get really, really scared of sounding like people because we're a brand, we're a business. But the way that I sit and kind of encourage and hopefully inspire the small business owners that I've worked with over the time in this field is I want you to start thinking of your brand like it is your best friend, and you're telling a new person about your best friend and all of the great things that make up your best friend. So when someone comments something and says like, oh, this is incredible, be like, yeah, we think so too, glad you're loving it. And then also hit them with the question like, see anything else recently that's given you inspiration? All of those types of engaging kind of questions and comments and responding back showcase like your brand is being run by real people, but also just kind of like the plan approach. We want to be your social media best friends. You should want to be your audience's best friend and introduce them to all of the different characteristics that make up your brand. Let's see. My expanded business is in real estate and design. Oh, I got you. Yeah, that's perfect, Leanna. Sorry, I was seeing that connects. Yeah, real estate and design are both kind of rooted in artistry. So don't be afraid to blend those as well. Okay. Let's see what else. Do we have any other questions? Just trying to make sure we've got a few in here. Oh, in terms of content strategy, should you have a different theme, lifestyle, education, meme, and a different pillar every day? Ideally, yes. You want to keep it flowing, but you want to keep it flowing in a way that it's kind of, popped into place, moved around, where there is a nice communal and conversational flow within your content. So when you're building out that content strategy, that's what makes that kind of drag and drop feature, a plan strategy tool, so helpful, because you can really see how that's going to unfold. And one of the things that you can also do is once you've taken that strategy tool, that grid, and you've popped it into your feed scheduler, your feed planner, that visual space on the right of your screen, you can still drag and drop there as well. So as you line up your images, that are all based off of your content pillars, if you're seeing like, oh, this isn't telling a very cohesive story, or I'm not loving how these colors are, blending, you can always drag and drop it to make it fit exactly what you would like, and also to still maintain that alignment with those content pillars in your strategy. Let's see here. What else do we have? Any other questions? I'm wondering if I need to come back on both pages versus focusing on business and letting the personal trail along as I become more consistent. That's a very understanding concern. So what I would say is that, like I mentioned earlier, I think it was Leanna, just, don't be afraid to blend things into one if that's easier for you. As a small business owner, you've got enough going on. Your business and your personal brand as a small business owner can blend. And then as you continue to grow and you get to a different stage, you can always kind of start looking into separating those out. Or if you have extra hands that can help you, or one of the great things about Plan is you can manage multiple brands all in one. So everything that we did today for your social media comeback, you can do that both for your personal brand as well as your business brand. Hopefully that one helps as well. Do you suggest a minimum maximum post strategies? I'm a hairstylist. I wouldn't say a minimum or a maximum specifically. I personally, what I usually try to, work with small business owners is choose 3 to 5 really, really strong content pillars, because you already have enough plenty of other things going on. If you start trying to tackle all of these different content pillars, it might get a little hairy very quickly, especially for a hairstylist. You don't need any more extra hairy situations to deal with. So I would recommend roughly 3 to 5. And then if you're noticing like, hey, I can take on more, or I'm having more content or more comments and questions come in about this specific thing, you can, revise one that might not be working so well, or you can add it in if you want to take that plunge. But I wouldn't suggest just a minimum or a maximum, but rather a range of like 3 to 5, 3 to 8, something around there. Also in that strategy tool, all of those are really great starting points. So if there's one in that strategy tool where I showed you the content pillars that you just don't feel is good for your brand, you can get rid of it, you can edit it, you can change it, you can add to it. It's completely up to you. But take your time figuring that out as well, and figure out exactly what works. Do you have any tips on how to engage with a creator's post that you might want to recruit as an influencer? Well, I'm available. No, I'm just kidding. Do you have any tips on how to engage with a creator's post? Yeah, just like their post, comment on their post. Most of the time creators see that. And then if you get some kind of response back, shoot them a DM, pop into their direct messages. Most of the time this is what they do for work. And if you are wanting to recruit them for more work, obviously they will have guidelines. You will need to establish some influencer partnership guidelines. But that's what social media exists for, is so that we can pop into one another's direct messages and say hello and offer solutions and help. And so most of the time creators are pretty open to answering. And if they're not responding, there are more creators and influencers out there that will definitely be excited to celebrate your brand. So if one influencer isn't giving you the attention, don't take that as an end all be all. The world and the creator economy is starting to flourish. There are tons of folks out there that would love to work with your brand. So, engage with the ones that you love, and then just kind of keep moving on from there. Let's see. The great thing. Have any team members that are content matter aggravated to? Oh, gotcha. Let's see. All right. We have any others? Do you have any tips on how to engage? Okay, we did that. What is the benefit of deleting all of your posts? I've seen accounts where they've deleted everything and started over. What do you suggest? Okay, this is a good one. You will occasionally see something like that happen. I don't recommend deleting everything. Personally, if you ever land on my Instagram feed, you'll see that there aren't a ton of posts. But what I've done is I've had an Instagram since 2010. I've changed a whole lot since 2010. And so I'll go through and I'll archive things that I don't feel like are relevant anymore, or may not align with like my personal brand. I'll do this the same with any social media accounts that I manage or oversee is, hey, let's get that out of there. It's not offering value to my audience anymore. It's not resonating with my audience at this point, and it doesn't align with who we are today. So some of those things I'll get rid of certain posts. Some brands like to, it's good to kind of revisit your brand every 4, 5, 6 years, maybe for a refresh or a touch up. And some brands will typically delete a whole bunch of things just to kind of come in strong as a completely new brand. But personally, I don't think that's the best route to take. I think if you maintain that consistency and that openness and that authenticity over time, when you make those sorts of brand changes, your audience will be really excited about them and excited to see your growth. So don't be afraid to leave some things on there and just archive what you feel like isn't serving your brand anymore. I want to make sure I miss it. What would I post for proofreading? So if your post, I think I might be a little confused on that one. What would I post for proofreading? If you're talking about like the proofreading industry, or if you're talking about proofreading a caption, I can help with either of those. But just a little confused on the question. So I'll give you a second if you want to give me a little bit more clarity on that, because I want to help you. I just need a little bit more detail on what to post for proofreading. Let's see, anything else? I probably look like one of those really elderly folks jumping into like some crazy new tool. So, just bear with my nose and my eyes real close. I made my own, but feel like I had too many. Okay, cool. Really glad to hear that, Sharon. Yeah, just narrow down to what you know best. And as you continue to grow your content pillars, you'll know that it's all rooted in what you feel most confident about posting. Let's see. Are hashtags beneficial on Facebook or really best on Instagram? So Adam Asari has mentioned the hashtag engagement thing. From our experience, hashtags help tremendously with your engagement. And you can use up to 30. You can use those across Facebook and Instagram. I don't recommend personally, this is me personally, I don't recommend putting up to 30 on Facebook, or maybe if you really want to, drop them into a comment. But on Instagram, we usually will use up to 30 or as many as possible. And the reason why you want to take advantage of those hashtags is because those are micro community audience members that you either haven't engaged yet, or that you have the potential to engage. So based off of whatever that topic is, every hashtag, it's just a small community of people who are interested in a similar topic that either relates to your brand or resonates with your brand. So putting them there provides a space for you to, engage with people who are really interested in what it is that your brand or your business offers. So hopefully that's helpful. Let's see. What else? All right. Do we have any other questions? I know we're about to wrap up for time. So if you have any other questions, my teammates will jump in and help you out. But really quickly, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for being here. I know as a small business owner and someone who's running their own thing and being a solopreneur, that it's kind of hard to take time out of your day to learn to learn something new, but hopefully what you've gained in this webinar today is going to really help you with that social media comeback. Be sure to keep a lookout for your inbox for a replay. Mark your calendars. Check out our events on the website. We've got lots more webinars coming up over the coming weeks. There's actually an education webinar tomorrow if you want to hang out with Ashley from the chat. And then if you love today, if you love this webinar, if you really feel like we've helped you, we would love for you to rate our app 5 stars. Every little bit helps. As a small business owner, you understand that. We would love to, get your reviews and see what you're thinking about the app and how we can improve. But overall, thank you everyone for being here. Really, really grateful. Y'all have a wonderful day and stay safe out there. And we will see you soon back on the plan side. Thanks, everyone.